when I stay in this thumb or the finger that is, hurting. It lies to me so much that it makes me become just the finger. And I'm like, who am I now when this finger is hurting so bad? This finger is gone or whatever, but you are more than the finger. I'm not saying ignore the pain of the finger, but I'm saying let's not let the loss of whatever we lose automatically change every part of our lives. It's going to alter things.
You've just stepped into An Empty Street, a podcast where we casually engage in difficult conversations about relationships, wealth, and health. We are just three curious gentlemen who ask questions almost about everything, and our aim is to find answers from others and within ourselves. We sit down every week to explore unaltered conversations. So let's walk the talk together, and welcome to the Empty Street Podcast.
In 3,
2, 1.
We're rolling. Welcome to the Empty Street Podcast.
yeah, we're live. Not
Once
a
again.
Tuesday, not a week, another day.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
yeah.
Hey, if you take rent, too, like with your island, that's how it goes.
Yeah, you really do.
Yeah.
I mean, but like we always say, we're not walking alone. We come bearing gifts, and we'll let the gift unwrap itself.
It's so funny because everything just keeps going in my head. The numbers, what you're going to
how
say.
it
Because this gift is also a walker, I guess, right?
goes. Yeah.
My name is Nceba Setu Wagaslangu, born and bred at Tembisa. I am a creative artist in the full sense of it, because I write, I act, I sing, I create. But other than that, I'm just a young man that is navigating life as best as he can. And yeah, I think that's how I'm going to unwrap for now. But thank you also for bringing me into the space and to allow me to chill on the empty streets with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
We welcome.
Yeah.
Appreciate you for making your time to be here.
Yeah.
And I don't know where the conversation will go, Mara. Yeah, we should definitely be heading on a right path if there's something like that.
I mean, I feel like already from the conversations we've had off cam, we've probably already covered a whole episode. So I don't doubt that what we'll be unpacking will be a fruitful conversation either. I think we do need to pick each other's brains more often, and to do it with you is also an opportunity for us, as it is for you. So yeah, we do very much appreciate you being here as much as you appreciate us having you here. So
Thank you.
As you speak of the opportunity, and some of the opportunity we have been able to win, and some of them we're able to lose. But beyond that, you're still here and you're still driving. And we were speaking about the podcast, checking with it from my call until today. It's been a year and few months. But there are some of the things I say losile, which we cannot gain back, which is time, maybe money, a lot of things. But at the end of the day, we are just grateful for the opportunity to being given a platform to speak out and say your view and understand this and that. Then ila ukhona ubona khona ukuthi then mawuzothola amajita njengawo khona ukuthi abuke, then akhona ukufunda, then uyabona at the end of the day not all is lost. You understand? Because khona abanye bathole something. Uyabona? Should khona ama-fruits asalayo, then we're able to chow nawe ukaya abanye, then from that then yakhona ukuthi opportunity, then we gaya umunye. Yabona? Sonke siba right. So yeah, opportunity, loss and win.
Love that.
Yeah.
I think that's a kind of a good segue into what we'll be unpacking today, which is loss, right?
Yeah.
And loss can be, excuse me, seen in different ways. You can view it in the sense of losing opportunities, losing family relationships, and just experiences, you know. But I wanted to like try and unpack the whole idea of just loss and excuse me, and how we gain from the losses, you know, because losses are sometimes there to give us a lesson. There's always a lesson to be learned from your losses, or something to gain from your loss, you know. So I don't, obviously in that moment it doesn't feel like some good will come out of a loss, you know. But in the long run, you look back in hindsight and you're like, yo, okay, from this I actually gained 1, 2, 3, you know. So from a lost opportunity, for instance, you might gain another, you know. And you're like, no, I didn't, had I gained this opportunity or this experience, I might not have been able to experience this opportunity to experience, you know. So yeah, I don't
intenani ngaloko ukuthi mawuchecka, I think impilo the way ngakhona siphila kayiso, which is good and bad. Indlela engayo, which is good and bad. So good and bad, there's always takeaway. You understand? So more today you win something, then we are born, there's something we lose it. But just only for if maybe we do introspection, that's where we get to understand what the fuck. But then I won, but there's something that I lost. You understand? Same thing as if we lose, there's something we born out with. I lost a lot. But later on, maybe if you have healed, then couldn't born with but it was worth it and everything. So I think kungikhuluma about I think mati iyaphuma but kulento le khuluma about karma, you know, when you speak about karma. So I was like, for me somehow I feel like karma doesn't exist. I'm just my emotions is feel like most of lose maybe family members. You can't say it maybe a karma, or if maybe when there's something bad, then next thing if something ends there, I give me not like no karma. It's just life the way and I experience these emotions because today I'm feeling or I just lost this. But then it's karma see then ukhona sure maybe I still I don't regret it. Was I did it because being full and today it was in and I'm grateful for that. Some of the mistakes is are not only my mistakes, but my experiences is to learning out. Next time I do better. You understand? So is my situation most of the time my emotions. My emotions or experience see that you're winning or you're losing, but they're always there. You understand?
And I think whenever we're unpacking the conversation of loss, we should not only leave it in the win and lose.
Yeah.
You know? Because I think some of the losses, for example, that you can lose a relationship because you are the one that's ending it.
Sure.
In that space, it's that loss is not an opposite of winning or losing. Because in that loss, you are winning. Because you are choosing to say, I don't want this anymore, but that I don't want this anymore result to a loss because it's a loss of a journey with this person, a story with this person. So I think every time when we're thinking about loss, we're often looking at the things that are taken away. As then we're like, okay, I've lost because this was taken away. But there's loss where there are things that we give up. Choice. And that loss on its own comes with different conversations to the table because it's a choice. You choose to end that relationship. And just because you chose does not exempt you from the feelings of loneliness, of missing the person, of missing the, you know, even when you are choosing to maybe leave a company. Because for whatever reasons, for you, it's a win because now you're leaving this company, maybe going to engage with another company. But there were routines. Not everybody in the previous company was toxic. You know, there was somebody that maybe from Ek18 or Rolo Mamotlinayo, begafika njalo maatli ntafula lakho akushiyele itiya phezulu. You miss those things. And that's also living with loss, especially when it's a choice. Because I think when we choose to lose certain things or to end certain things, we then feel like we don't have the right to also mourn because it was my choice. How do I mourn when it was my choice? But you have every right to mourn that situation because you made the choice and you are happy with it, but there are certain things about the choice that you made, you can't bring them with you to the next. And that thing on its own, you need to give yourself that space to mourn that, you know?
True.
That's interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because really, when it comes to like making those choices where there has to be a loss made. Like there has to be something that you lose. You like there's two possibilities that are there. This unknown path that you are choosing to take,
Yeah.
and the one that you, for instance, the example you made about you ending a relationship
Yeah.
or walking away from a relationship, there's that future that you've envisioned with that person, and then there's this unknown path, and when you've chosen that path, the unknown, you can't help but also be like, oh shit, I lost, and what if I've made the biggest mistake of my life? What if I'm not gonna meet a person like that? Or what
Yeah.
if I'm not going to be, in an example of a job,
Yeah.
what if I'm not going to meet the same people that, like similar people like the ones that I used to work with in the previous company. So it has these two possibilities. I don't know if I can call them possibilities or
It's like
dimensions
two outcomes
or,
to the choice you make, basically.
yeah.
Because as you were saying, excuse me, it's like it's either you stick with what you currently have, whether it be a job or the relationship or any other experience,
Yeah.
and you live that experience or the journey that you've already envisioned. Or as you were saying now, you choose then the unknown, which will also be a choice you make.
Yeah.
Both the choices you have to make, which is what we outlined with it boils down to a choice. But in that choice, there's loss that will come from it, because you can't obviously go with both choices. So one has to fall short, and then through that, you have to, I don't know if I can say grieve that loss, but you have to obviously, as you were saying, with you now start thinking about, what if I've now made the biggest mistake of my life? Those are kind of the thoughts that start hitting you and all of that, and that's where like the choices of loss kind of feed into, but in the same sentence, it's like you still gain new experiences. You still, maybe you were from a toxic environment, and it's like, okay, actually I probably made the best choice in my life. And now that I've actually made this choice, things kind of are looking up. This new job I'm in seems to be in a much healthier I seem to be in a much healthier space than I used to be. I sleep more, I'm not losing sleep anymore because of the tireless hours I put into work, and all of those kind of stuff come from loss also. So it's like we have kind of given loss a negative connotation, but it also kind of has
A positive.
a positive to it.
But the reason why we give loss a negative connotation is because many a times we define ourselves based on the things that we've lost. So if, for example, and also with that loss forces you to be introduced, or it introduces you to a you that you did not know. I, for example, my journey with loss, it's indifferent, whether it's career or whatever, but one of my major journeys with loss was the loss of my parents that I lost 2 years ago, back to back, within a space of 3 weeks. And that journey with loss, loss then introduced me because of I was so and so's son, for the longest of time. And all of a sudden it was introducing me to a me that could not define or reflect, call himself so and so's son. And that me I did not know. And there's that now, Gucci, you're not just mourning the person that left, you're mourning the you that they live with, because they die with you. They live with you, even if it's a girlfriend situation. Whether she ends the relationship, you mourn the fact that you were so and so's boyfriend for the longest of time. So there's a you that also dies with the death of that thing. And I think that's why we are terrified about death, because we're terrified about the us that dies, and then we are unsure or uncertain about the us that comes up, who is he? What
Yeah.
does he like?
Yeah.
You know, especially if you are living like, I'm pushing even a span in Makpora, or I don't like the work environment is toxic, but I'm doing it because I need to put bread on the table for my old lady or a time. All of a sudden, old lady in a time abaseko. They were
What
the
are you doing it
motivation.
for?
Yeah. So why am I doing
Yeah.
this
What are you
now?
doing
You know,
it
for who, for what? And I think that's what makes it very terrifying when we're dealing with loss. Everyone is scared because there's a part of our identity that is forever attached to whatever it is that we lose. And that part of us is the one that we spend so much time mourning. And I would want to challenge us to maybe spend more time to mourn that one part that dies, but to give the one that is birthed an opportunity. Yeah, give him a chance. Who is he? Where is he taking you? What does he like? You know, living in a world now where you don't have your parents, or you don't have that girl, or you don't have that job. Who are you? What is the new things that informs the you? And then you are now you're also employed in a project of nurturing this new place, this new person. What do they need so that they grow to the place or the level that the other one was? You know, and we fear those things because we don't know.
It's the unknown.
Yeah, it's the unknown.
It's the unknown. The unknown frightens us.
Yeah.
This is such a...
It's very interesting, man. It's interesting because we always say that when something happens to us, like a significant thing happens to us, that is going to hurt us, of course, or we label it as something bad happens to us. We always say, after it happens, we always say, I lost myself. So it's like now, okay, I get, like from what you are saying, I'm thinking with you, what do we mean by I lost myself? It means that part of us that we defined ourselves as or by actually died. We lost that part and the rebirth. So I think it's what Jordan Peterson always touches on as well when he says that life is a constant rebirth and death as well. So each and every day, though literally we are approaching death,
grave,
but at the same time, each and every choice we make, it's like a part of us dies, and we should mourn that part. And I like it when you say that we should challenge ourselves, because it now requires us to be aware that each and every day a part of us will die, and we are not in control of that. So it means it's something we really should be consciously aware of, that okay, something might happen, I might lose these things that I'm defining myself with. So how do I deal with that? How do I redefine who I am and live with that person now and still enjoy life? Because I think that's what we should always try to do, is to live up to the, I don't know, best selves. I don't know. Though it's inevitable that something bad will happen and part of us will die, but it's like, okay, acceptance.
But also navigating the part of us that dies. Yazi enye into efikayo as you're speaking. If uvala umnyango and then was shanga umnyango, you know, one of your fingers, the pain that you're going to feel in that finger right now is unimaginable. At that moment, it doesn't matter whether or not you are standing, you are walking, you are wearing a good hat or not, you know, you look good or not. The pain is in the finger that you've that's where the focus is. And I think that's what death or loss in its totality, whether in different aspects of it, becomes. It's like that one finger has been hit, and we focus all our attention on that we forget it, but it's just a finger. It's not the whole body. So I think as well, in the morning, hence I'm saying mourn what dies, but don't overstay there. Because there's a lie to think I was just a son. I wasn't.
You're more.
I was always more than a son. I'm a friend, I'm an uncle, I'm a lover, I'm a this, I'm a that. I'm a creative. There's so many other parts that makes me me. So when I stay in this thumb or the finger that is, you know, hurting, it lies to me so much that it makes me become just the finger. And I'm like, who am I now when this finger is hurting so bad? You know, this finger is gone or whatever, but you are more than the finger. I'm not saying ignore the pain of the finger, but I'm saying let's not let the loss of whatever we lose automatically change every part of our lives. It's going to alter things, but you are still more than just that one moment, you know. And I think many of us, especially as black men as well, who are navigating the streets of dating, you lose your job. That affects you a lot.
Big time.
Because now you're like, number one, there's already a daughter mask campaign running around. And you can't be the daughter that is masking.
Yeah,
Because
you
what are
can't
you
mask.
masking when
You
you
can't
can't?
mask.
You know,
Yeah, you
you
can't
can't
mask.
mask. And now you're like, how do I show up here? And you allow the finger that has been caught by the door to then define everything.
To define everything.
To consume you so much that you, even when you show up, you can't even be that nice guy. You can't be that guy with values. You can't be the visionary. You know, there are so many other things that you bring to space in terms of love and relationship than just your bank account, than just what's in your pocket. Maybe you bring your values. Maybe you bring discipline. Maybe you bring loyalty. Maybe you wela mawujola nalo muntu lo ujola naye phela.
Yeah.
Awuna ukuthi entertainer nosbanban. And that is something that you bring to the relationship. But then you don't allow yourself to be in relationships because you've allowed that one loss of employment, of income, to define how you show up in spaces as well.
I think I really like your analogy about the finger and all of that. Like I also kind of want to touch on like how do you actually then while experiencing that loss, because the thing is like emotions are overwhelming, you know, and we can't ignore that.
True.
So sometimes it's hard to experience this loss in whatever form it comes in, you know, whether it be a job, relationship, life, self. How do you then detach yourself from it? Because in that moment you are fixated on the loss, the finger. You know, you're so fixated on the pain you're experiencing through the finger that you forget, obviously, that there's a whole arm, there's a whole body attached to that finger. You know, but how do you then say, okay, you know what, this pain has now been going on for too long. Let me now focus on the rest of my body.
I think it's time, but
Yeah.
as time goes, the little going to realize I call no shit. But I still have the arm. I still have other fingers. You understand? But manje mangathi uyoza ubuhlungu manje, even your mind just shut down.
Yeah, I know.
Just shut down. Just focus on this thing. That's the only thing that will happen. So lokho kunye mase kuyisikhathi sosibona ukuthi asisibuhlungu isikhathi eside, then uyakhona ukurelaxa manje ukuthi awuthi ngisiyeke. Ifana noma ungathiwa maybe ukhathekile la. It's one and the same thing. Ubuvulekile but nje uconcentrate khona. Because masoceda igazi umaqeda usuka seyaphola nje. Mara still sisebuhlungu but uyayiyekela. Then so focus kwezinye izinto. So I think with time then get used to it. Then
It's interesting you mentioned time, because like time is not really something we all use the same.
Yeah.
So for me, time would be 5 years to get through something. For you, time would be okay. I just need time to get through this, and that might be 2 weeks.
Yeah,
and then you're over that pain on your finger. You know, but for me, it's like, yo, do that. Even next year, and to you it won't make sense, right?
Sure.
It might be an experience you've also went through. You've also gotten your finger hurt by a door.
Definitely.
But for me, it's taking way longer to get over the pain, you know, and that's just in our DNA. It's nothing we can really help. Yeah, well, we're not all channeled the same. That's why there's people that are super emotional, and there's people that are literally robots that don't feel anything. You know, and those are people that get over shit after a day, you know. But there's people that literally go through their emotions, you know, and it's not like they can help it. It's just how they're designed.
Sure.
Yeah, well, but it's interesting to realize that time also does impact the time you spend feeling that pain.
Also,
So
I
is
think I was just wanting to say that it's also different in terms of the loss of ngishaya isandla, umunwe wami ulimele versus umunwe wami amputated. It was taken away.
Yeah.
because that loss is two different things. The other one, you immediately go on a journey of healing. The other one, you have to go on a journey of accepting.
Yes,
Yeah.
because it's no longer
Yeah,
there.
because it's no longer there. So it's not coming back. It's not gonna be there. It doesn't matter what you do. You just have to live with it.
And
That's-
those are like your losses of like your death.
yeah, your death and whatever. It
relationships
doesn't
and all
matter.
that.
You have to live with the fact that it's not there.
Yeah.
And every time you look at all your hands, you will always be reminded. Every time you enter rooms, you will always be reminded.
Yeah.
You could be on a date and having fun, and then you just reach out to touch your partner's hand, and then you are reminded. Which angakwazi ukwenza. Angikwazi ukuhlanganisa izandla grade because you know.
Hey, the finger one, you guys took
Hey,
it far.
we really ran with that finger.
So it's different from the one that's injured because that
Yeah.
one you can put
Yeah.
on my IC, you can do all these things to try get back to healing.
Take painkillers.
But the
yeah.
other one, it's a journey that's forever,
Yeah.
and that's when every time you walk in a room, there could be a trigger. Could be a kid you are visiting, you are playing with kids, and kids are very direct.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
a kid is asking you,
What happened to
"Malume,
your finger?"
Chulala," you know.
Yeah.
And you can laugh it off and whatever, but when you go back home or you're by yourself in the taxi or driving, then you realize, Gutsi, I'm still living with this thing.
Yeah.
And that's when we have different perspective then to heal it.
Yeah.
Because the other one can be a 5 minutes, a 2 weeks, backstage. Yes, you'll have the scar, it'll remind you what happened, but the pain is not the same.
Yeah.
And then the other one that is lost, it's lost. Some days you wake up and you're like, but ngiyafana, ngiyaqhubeka, ngiyakwazi ukwenza izinto. But the other days you're like, I want to get married now. Do I fit the ring in the same finger?
So it's the ring finger, man.
Well, could have been whichever one.
Yeah, but what I wanted to ask is now are we gonna say time heals or how you deal with the situation heals based off what you were saying? Ukuthi, for some people it could take 5 years. For some people it could take 3 months.
Yes.
And now it's a matter of, is it really time though? Or is it what that certain person was doing to deal
During
with
that
the
time, yeah.
situation and actually accepting that loss?
Situation,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually quite true because I know people that have lost people in their lives. In a sense, you're with okay, they like it's death. I've lost this person forever, and yet it's like 5 years down the line, and they still mourn them as if it is something that happened yesterday. And I know people that have lost people in their lives, and yet it's not like they've forgotten about them. They still mourn them in those spaces, but it's not the same. I won't say they've healed, but they've accepted. They've accepted that situation. Okay, this person is no more. But the one that drags it on for now 5 years or for however long I don't think they've kind of accepted it. And sometimes we need to get to that point where you kind of let go, and it's okay. It's okay to actually let go. Maybe that person feels bad with I might forget about this person, but that you'll never forget that person. That person will forever be in your life. They left a mark that can never be taken away.
It's part of your story.
Exactly, it's part of your story. So I don't think we should feel guilty, which is something I wanted to actually answer you on when you were speaking about karma and all of that. I think that part of us that thinks things are karma, it's kind of like the regret, it's kind of like the guilt in us that feeds on us, and then we're like, okay, maybe, this is karma. But it's actually the guilt in you that's like eating you up. So I think it's okay for us to accept these kind of stuff that happen. Yes, in that moment it's hard to be like, okay, you know what, I can't live with this situation. I need to drag this process on just to make it last longer or whatever the case is. But if you want to actually see yourself getting through that whole process or that state, you have to let go and accept the situation. It's okay, my life is no longer going to be that way, and you hanging on to that is not doing you any justice also. Instead it hurts you even more. It hurts you even more, and you don't really get to heal, and it hurts the people around you as well, because now we scared of hey, how am I gonna approach SK? Because now I have to walk on eggshells every time I mention
You don't
this or
wanna
this. You don't want to
trigger,
trigger those things, you know. So it makes it uncomfortable for everyone, even those around you, you know.
That is so true. I think for me, it's also being mindful of rituals, of detaching, you know, finding, learning, and teaching yourself about ways. The same way when somebody loses a loved one or a human being, there is a ritual. Kunomngcwabo, kuyangcwatshwa. There's the services or umlindelo eyenzakalayo during the course of the week. All of those things are part of the ritual. Some take it to a point of even after that, the funeral day, the burial, maybe bazila. That is part of the ritual of letting go. And I think it's easier with death because those rituals already exist versus with opportunities.
Yes.
We don't have that in terms of opportunities. We don't have the same ritual in terms of losing your job. Because you have constant reminders that say, I'm out, he still call you. But you know you're not going to be able to buy drinks in that place. You know that you can't show up because you don't even know how you're going to get there. And so we need to then go through a ritual of saying, I'm unemployed now. And being unemployed, there are certain truths I need to accept about the loss of my job. Part of those truths is that I cannot live as the man that I used to live. You know, I would rather say to my friends, "Zwagalane lokishini nizobona mina," because then I don't have to worry about transport money to get there. Even if bathi singagibeza, I have to also say to my friend, okay, if andakungangibeza, but kusasa mangibuyele edladleni, anginasinkwa ntwana. You know, and accept certain truths. And even if it means sometimes then you also have to free your friends to know which Amachita can also go. Because now they can't stop living their life when you can't afford. Now they're like, we're planning on going hiking. When are you? And now like, but I'm not employed. So guys, no, give them the permission to go hiking without you. And know that there are certain experiences that now they will have, but you can't have them with them.
And
but
it's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
You know.
It's okay.
And then when I invest in the fact that the ones that we can have together, let's make that count. If I still am interested in that relationship, let's make those experiences count. When we're chilling, let's speak about that. Let me express to them, my qualifications are X, Y, and Z. And my interests are this and this and that. So esipanini sakho wherever mawuhambile uzwa ukuthi bafuna abantu abaklinayo or abayenza ama-graphics or abayenzani, ukhumbule ukuthi i-skill sami siyi, you know. You let them know as well, because I think another thing that we do is have the brave face. You meet the people that are supposed to be the very people to help you, and you act as if everything is fine. You don't tell them, actually I don't have petrol, I can't get there, or I don't have money even if it takes.
Shame.
Vandaag I couldn't even buy a roll-on, to tell you the honest truth. You have to be able to accept certain things as your current reality, but then also, especially if it's a loss of a job, that one, it's a reality in our country because many people are unemployed. Then the question is also, okay, I lost this job, but what are my other opportunities? But you can't get to the place of other opportunities until you have accepted your reality and then apply the change. Sometimes even going through a method of saying, I'm going to host a funeral for that job. I'm going to write the company's name. I'm going to write what I loved about the company. I'm going to write what I respected about the company. And I'm going to have a service with myself for the company. And I'm going to take my candle. I'm going to burn that paper because I have to close this chapter in one shape or form so that it's gone. Now that I know which now I'm watching it burn, it's becoming a better reality. Which that situation is now gone. It's gone.
Yeah.
Now it forces me to say, okay, then where to from here? What can I do? Sometimes you have to be that literal about the things that we lose so that we can move on.
Yeah, and I think that's actually a good point, because people do actually kind of get over things differently. So for someone else, writing it down, like as you were saying, that whole service of a burial of that loss or that job or whatever it is, and burning it could be that guy or that person's method of actually getting over it, you know. But for someone else, they can literally just walk out the door and it's gone, it's forgotten. You know, Mara's fun is about it's fun, and we should to your point, we should find the method that works best for us. You know, but that also obviously takes introspection. It needs you as a person to actually tap into the parts of you that you hardly do, you know, and understand yourself a bit better and know how you normally handle things. As you were saying, Uti, is it actually time that helps us heal things, or what we go, or how we deal with it? You know, so it's those kind of things also will help you. If you know that you're a person that maybe heals better when you're around people, then do that, do more of that. You know, if you think healing comes in the form of being alone, then do more of that. You know, if that's your form of healing, then do more of that. But we need to channel more of ourselves in those moments and try and figure out what really works best for you to actually get over those losses. You know.
And another thing is like we've touched on how to actually deal with the loss when it's here, right? And how to deal with it post. Another thing is what you mentioned about learning to the detachment rituals. Another thing is, before you even get to the loss, you should understand how we people are so attached to certain things, most especially the things that we define ourselves by. For instance, the greatest philosophers always say that you shouldn't be attached to anything. You should understand that everything just passes in this life. The style, the way that I'm dressing right now, I might say I'm affording these clothes from this shop and I define myself as that person. And when I actually don't have that money now, I feel so terrible because I can't buy those clothes now and be that person that I've defined myself as. So that's attachment. With relationships, you think and hope that this is forever. We all do. But one thing we should, and it's not a negative, it's not you being negative, but it's you understanding how life works. I love this person with my heart, and I would like to be with this person for the rest of my life and for the rest of their life. But this is life, and we might separate, we might lose each other. When it comes to jobs as well, I'm in this job, this is my career, it's like, yeah, I'm here, this is made for me. I'm so attached to it. But another thing you should understand is COVID happens. People lose their jobs, but if you prepared yourself to understand, in life, you shouldn't be attached to anything. The relationships that we are in, maybe this girl or this man that I'm with might not, I might not end in marriage with them. Maybe they just there to show me a few hotels and new restaurants. That's what they should leave me with. Yeah, the jobs we are in, maybe they are not like forever until I die or retire. Maybe they're just there to afford us a certain lifestyle for me to go to a music festival where I'll meet someone who's going to plug me up with the next thing. So that's you not being attached to things. I think when you kind of detach yourself with something, but knowing Wuti, and detaching yourself from the things that you define yourself with or by, doesn't mean that you don't love, you don't love
Appreciate them.
or appreciate. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. You don't appreciate them. It just means that you accept that
accept.
life is like that.
Yeah.
I don't know who said this, but it's either Marcus Aurelius or Seneca. So in one of his writings, he was like, each and every night when you lay your son to sleep, whisper in their ear that they might be dead by tomorrow. So I found it very powerful that you can think your son, your child, and you meditate on that the following morning that they might be gone and they might be dead. And that's how life is. It's possible. You're not in control of that. It's inevitable that you might lose them anytime. But once you prepare yourself for that, you get to appreciate the moment. Because I think we take the things in our lives for granted because we always think that
I still have a lot of time with this. And even with our lives, we wake up every day and we plan for the next day, thinking that I don't feel like doing this. I know it will make me happy, but I don't feel like doing it today, but I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. This next move in my career, now I'll do it in 3 years. But we don't know that we might not wake up tomorrow.
Indeed. I
The
mean,
reality.
life is a lot. I mean, I always say life is a series of hellos and goodbyes. And it's the moments in betweens that matters, because that's
Yeah.
what we remember, you know. And unfortunately, with every goodbye, you don't know that it's a permanent one.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just like goodbye ntwana sizabonana kusasa. Kanti
assume.
that's it.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
it.
And that's why I'm always like, let's be so intentional about how we say goodbye. In fact, more intentional about our goodbye than our hello.
Yeah.
Because
That's the last
our
thing,
goodbye is the last thing we'll remember.
Yeah.
You know, you
Yeah.
remember that, no, he came, we sat, we laughed, we talked, we spoke, but when he left, and that for me is more important, because that can be the final goodbye every
Yeah.
time. But I do think that we can't live our lives just meditating on that. I think life is beautiful because we hope that we're gonna cross the road to the other side. If we lived just only conscious of, yo, the car might knock me, like, yo, manga jumpa bese yangichayisa,
zoba paranoid.
you know, awusabona
Ayikho into
ubuhle
zo-
bempilo, you
yeah,
know.
you now and live, yeah.
And I think also one thing, I mean, I've been speaking about this with a friend of mine about some losses, because I've lost friends along the way that there was no goodbye. You know, I felt like this guy would bese izolo wanyamalala, all of a sudden umuntu so blockiwe, awazi ukuthi kuyenzakaleni or whatever, you know. But then I was saying to my friend that some losses we need to also treat like trees, because when a tree is standing and you lose a fruit of the tree, it doesn't mean you've lost the whole tree.
Yeah.
You've lost just a fruit.
Yeah.
And maybe that fruit was, in fact, fruits are never meant to stay with the tree forever. They are meant to come and make
go.
way for the next bunch,
Yeah.
you know. So sometimes we are too quick to hate on people or end up saying, no, there's no such thing as a loyal friend, nan. You actually cut the whole tree and you start burning it because of water for now. Whereas you need to understand that there are certain things that some friends are gonna be like your trees. They're gonna be there forever, but there are those that are gonna come up. And those that are coming up, they have to come and they have to pass, or else they will not be the next fruit, the bunch of trees. And the next bunch of fruits is always sweeter than the one before. But even that sweeter one is not meant to stay. Not everyone we meet is here to stay. I'm, for example, here today with you guys as a fruit. You know, my job is to bloom in this moment and then go.
Yeah.
Go somewhere where somebody will either consume me or package me as something else, you know, fruit juice or whatever, or jam or whatever. But what you all have here, that's the tree. This is the tree. This is the trunk. This is what you nurture. And it's when you kill this that the tree dies. And some losses are like that. It's not necessarily a loss. I wasn't meant to stay. I'm passing. And we need to accept that as well. Because when we start treating fruits as a loss that is major, that's what makes us cut the tree down.
Yeah.
But the fruit was never meant to stay. It is passing. So I want us, as well as we navigate the season and the spaces of loss, to know the things that were meant to pass. Some things were just never meant to be with us forever. As harsh as it is, I was my mother's son. I still am, you know. There are days, even today, 2 years in, I still cry. Some days more than a day. But at the end of that, I also know that she was not mine to keep. She was not mine to own. She was mine to experience, to live with, to have the opportunity to have had this experience with her, to have the experience that I've had with my father. I appreciate them for the work and their contribution to the journey. God had entrusted them with the fact that they will keep me for X amount of years, nurture me, put a roof over my head until a point where I can find life for myself, you know? And so I have to understand that there were fruits, and fruits are not, fruits are not useless because they've left. Fruits were there and they've served their purpose, and now they are moving on to the next. But now I look at the deeper things. What are the things that are my tree trunk? What are the things that are my roots? And that's why my spirituality, my faith is more important, because those are the things that help my tree to keep growing and helps my tree to acknowledge the fact that sometimes there'll be people just sitting around me for my shade.
Yeah.
That's all they want.
Yeah.
Abazelangi relationship. Ungayithathi deep.
Yeah,
Mabathatha
no,
itulo zabo bahamba. Ungafili abandoned and now all of a sudden, people use. Hi, chief. They were never there for that.
Fucking Makali.
You know? So what are the things, I think, what are the things that feed the you? That way, even the things that you lose don't stop you. You know, the things that you lose don't end your life. There are many people that are dead as pilanavo because they allowed the things that their losses to become their reality, their life, their definition, their end. And so, usespanin, yes, we drive a Mercedes, but to feel because they can't see themselves beyond the loss.
Yeah.
For me, find the things that are going to feed you beyond the loss. And it's so important that I think even if that would be a parting shot of some sort, it's because I'm an artist. And as a freelancer, I deal with losses every day. Today you've got a gig, tomorrow you don't. Tomorrow you've got a gig, tomorrow you don't. Oh, wait.
Check Ali. No stress.
I mean, we can just
Wrap it up.
speak towards closing.
Yeah.
I think it was quite a fruitful conversation.
It did what it
Yeah.
needed to do.
Yeah.
It was definitely a fruitful conversation. There's a lot of takeaways.
Kambanda. Gwele. Aw, kanjani? Bona, change it I think. Yakuma settings. We choose from a 4K. If I go 1080. Okay. Yeah, I think we can
As I was
wrap it
saying, I think there's a lot of takeaways from this conversation you had. You know, from I'm speaking obviously in closing, but like how to navigate loss in whatever form it comes in. You know, whether it be, I think we've touched on loss of opportunities, jobs, friends, relationships, and I think we've also kind of touched on the loss of self. You know, which you just mentioned now, but these people that go their everyday lives living and yet they're dead inside. You know, and I think that is loss of self. You know, how to also find the good in those losses also is imperative. You need to find ways of still managing how to live through those experiences of loss. You know, what you also mentioned about time. We spoke about whether it's how long you go through that period of loss, or how you actually go through that period of loss. That's also something you need to kind of figure out for yourself, you know, and it won't just help you, but it will also help the people around you. Because you don't want to end up making people, I think the word these days, it's used a lot, make people feel cringe or something. You know? I don't know, that word is common these days, eh?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a common word, but you don't want people to cringe every time they're around you. You know, you don't want people to always walk on eggshells when they're around you, or they end up not even knowing how to approach you in general. You know, and these are people that love you. It's not people that are just there for your shade. You know, in the sense of a tree. They don't just want to use you, but they want to actually see you bear more fruit. You know, they want to see you like go through the seasons of where you lose leaves and you still come back again, you green again, and you experience life, you know, as a full tree again. You know, but allow those experiences to happen. You know, allow those experiences to happen, and it's not easy. It's not easy.
not.
I'm sure in some point in our lives, we've all experienced some form of loss. Whether it be through death, relationships, jobs, all of these. And each and every one of those experiences have been dealt with differently. There's times when you feel like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
I'm right.
Great.
Sing right. Some are just too hurtful.
True.
Some are just too hurtful, and you feel like there will not be any. They will no longer be better days after this.
There won't be any breakthrough.
Yeah, like when will the world or life cut me some slack?
Yeah.
When will I get through this?
And I mean, whenever especially it's emotional, then you are scared to even trust again,
Yes.
to love again, to
Yes.
feel again because of that loss. It remains part of you. My personal parting shot would be loss comes with opportunities as well, and learn to also seek those opportunities. Part of me being a creative artist, I'm always experiencing, I have to deal with rejection every day. I'm auditioning every day. Some days you give a kick-ass audition and you get back home and then they tell you, nah, we went with somebody else, or you are in the final two, then they take somebody else. So you're always dealing with, how do I bring myself up, because that's a loss of an opportunity. Because the minute the invitation comes for an audition, the brief, you already see the money, you see the thing, you see how it's going to change your life. And then when they say you didn't get it, then you have to bury all of those things.
The possibilities, all those possibilities.
And then you always have to deal with that. And I've learned that loss, there are opportunities in loss. One, as a freelancer currently being in between stuff and not doing anything, I've realized that there's opportunity of time. And my time is to write. I write a lot lately. I write a lot. I engage in conversations. I reach out to people. I come to spaces like this and engage because I've got the gift of time. That when I'm in a gig where I'm presenting or I'm acting or whatever, I don't have that time. So I've seen the loss of not having these other things as an opportunity to write. The loss of losing my parents has also opened up a journey for me as a speaker to speak on the loss of parents, on the loss of navigating, grief and all of those kind of things. I was speaking on purpose only. I was speaking on my creative arts. Now I've got a new topic in my journey as well. And that topic on its own presents with it opportunities that some of them present economic empowerment, because they pay me to come and speak in certain spaces about those things. So loss also brought about an opportunity. I want to challenge us that whatever losses that we have, find the opportunities that it brings. If it's a loss of a relationship, it's an opportunity for you to meet that love of your life. Meet the person that was your one, because maybe the one you're with was not. But you have to find the opportunities that comes as well with the losses.
I know you guys wrapped it up.
Yeah,
you wrapped it up. Think we can close it?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if we should wait for Ali to wrap it up.
Seems like
he's still directing.
Yeah.
But it was really a fruitful conversation today, and thanks again for joining us.
Thank you for having me, James.
And I really like the analogy you made.
Yeah, he made a lot of analogies.
Yeah, he made a lot,
tree,
but with the finger. Because that's what we do. We focus on the pain, like at that moment. And that's it. That's all that exists. And I think we should try more to acknowledge the other body parts as well. There's a mouth that I need to feed, or it also enjoys food when it's digested. Like, remember those things that are actually pleasant. Even when you are going through that loss, you should remember the things that give you purpose. Do the things that made you feel more alive when you do them. Though it's gonna be difficult, of course. You're not gonna want to do anything when you're going through some tragic loss in your life. It's like your world just ended. But it's like, challenge yourself to be in those spaces where you feel more alive, or do those activities that are going to make you feel alive. So I think, as we always say,
take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and take care of your pockets.
This is the Empty Street Podcast, and we're signing out.
Cheers.
So you must make everything.
Hey.
Yeah.